Hi guys, now we're gonna do the Azure Lab from the 100 Days of Cloud series. Today is day 46, right? So the title is EventHub to Blob Storage Integration Setter. Alright, so here we have to create both EventHub and Blob Storage. Alright, so let me click the start button. So for this lab, I prepare an architecture diagram right here. Now we are on the jump host server, jump host clients, right? So we were trying to access to this virtual machine from the Azure cloud, right? So using SSH method, and then we had to configure something within this virtual machine, to create the EventHub, and then we had to create an EventHub. And then we have to create the storage account, Blob container, and then we have to do for the backup of the logs, right? So, okay. So this is the architecture diagram for this lab. So here we're gonna wait a few minutes. Okay, great. So let me go to tldraw.com. Oh. Why this black screen? I think something's wrong. Okay, great. Now we're gonna read the given instruction carefully. Here the notorious step obtains wants to integrate an Azure virtual machine with Azure EventHubs and Azure Blob storage for centralized log collection and backup. So the key point is to collect the centralized logs, and then they want to back up for those logs right here, like I said before. So here we have to create the virtual machine, and then we have to create EventHub namespace, and storage account. Within the storage account, we had to create the Blob container to back up logs from the virtual machine. Alright, so we send the logs to this EventHub running the Python files. Alright, so now very carefully. So the first thing is we have to create EventHub namespace. So EventHub namespace is right here, data center dash namespace in the US East region, and then standard pricing tier is standard. Okay, and make sure to enable auto inflate. Alright, so let me create this EventHub. So I will copy this, and then I will find the Google. So I will find from terminal. Okay, so I will run this command. So here location is US. Okay, great. So here we need to replace the resource group name. So let me get the resource group name. Here is a group list. Okay, so I will copy this resource group name and replace right here. Okay, so I'm gonna run this command. And then we're gonna create the EventHub within that namespace, right? So we had to create an EventHub. So I will give this I will copy this line, and then I will find in this same tab. So, and after that we have to set our Azure blob storage for log backup. So before we create the story container, we should have the story account, right? So now here we successfully create a namespace. Now we create that EventHub. So here I will run this command. So I will run this. I'm gonna give the correct resource group name. So, sorry for my background noise. It is raining, that's why. So here is the replace the correct resource group name. So namespace, data center namespace. So here partition count is 2. That's fine. Here we don't need to change this. So I will run this. Oh, not 2 times. Okay, great. So something is wrong. Okay, so we don't need this massive retention command arguments, so I will remove that. And also I don't need this. Okay, great. So let me run that again. Oh, I have connection error. So here I cannot do anything right here. Oh, what's wrong? Okay. Okay, so we successfully create the EventHub. So now we're gonna create the Azure Blob story for log backup. So I will copy this and I will find in the same tab. So here I will find like this. So here we will ask AI. I don't find a new tab because we already know the process. So I will copy this. So here also I need to replace the resource group name. So resource group name is not this one. So I will copy this resource group name. And then I will replace that and I will run this command. To create a storage account. And then I'm gonna run this second command to create a container. So account name is data center ST1559 and this is a container name. So here okay, great. So now I will run the second command to create a storage container. Okay, so here the return value is true, great. So ensure the container is publicly accessible. So that's why here we make the public access is Blob. Alright, so now let me create the virtual machine. So here also I will copy all of these things and I will ask right here. So to create a virtual machine, okay, so we need to know the resource group name again. So I think that's not enough to create the Azure virtual machine. You know, we need to add the SKU type, and then we need to give the OS disk size, and then we need to give the OS site is standard underscore b1s. So let me modify this. So let me find a new tab, how to create an Azure VM including OS disk site GB and then story SKU and then size from terminal. So okay, so we have to run this command, you know. So I will use Ubuntu 2204 and 2204. I will remove this, and then name is data center VM, and here resource group name is, we need to replace the correct one. So oh god, it disappeared again. I had internet connection error, I think so. Alright, so let me copy this resource group somewhere. Okay, I need to replace the resource group, and then type is standard standard underscore, oh sorry for this, standard underscore b1s. That is for free. And story type is SKU type is, what is that? Standard standard underscore LRS. Okay, great. So OS disk type is free is 30 GB. Okay, username is, I will give the Azure user. So for the SSH key pair, we're gonna generate a new key pair. So now we are ready to create the Azure virtual machine. So now I will run this, and here region is, let me add the region. Location is, what is that? East US, right? So I will replace East US. Alright, so now I will run this command. So okay, here location East US. Great. So let me run this. So we had to wait a few seconds. So for the Azure virtual machine, you know, we had to open the port 22 because using SSH, we're gonna try to access from this client host to this Azure virtual machine using the public IP address. That's why we need to open the port 22, right? So how to open port 22 for Azure VM from terminal. So VM name is data center -VM. Okay, so we successfully create the Azure virtual machine. So let me check this one. So protocol type is TCP access allowed. VIRTUA virtual machine. Okay, I will run this, but here I don't need this. Network security group, I will remove that. For the resource group name, I will replace with this correct one, and then I will run this command. So this is with the network security group. Okay, let me directly open how to DICT directly open using EventHub open port. Let me find like this. So here I have to run this command. Okay. So here I need to replace the virtual machine name. That is data center VM, and the resource group name is this not correct. So right here, and then replace it. So I don't run this command, you know. I don't need to run this one. We can directly open the port 22 for the virtual machine. Okay, great. So now let me get the public IP address of the virtual machine. So how to get a public IP address of the Azure VM data center VNA Azure front terminal. So here also I need to run this command. So here is the resource group name. So resource group name is this, and then replace it. So let me get the public IP address of the Azure virtual machine. Okay, so we will use this IP address, and then we will use SSH method. So okay, and then Azure user add, and then I will paste this public IP address. Let me check it out. So say yes. Okay, great. So now we are on the Azure virtual machine. So let me read the given instruction. We had to copy the send_loss.py script from the client host to the home Azure directory of the data center virtual machine. So okay, so let me exit again. So we can use scp, and then this file is located within the root directory, right? So I will give this file, and then I will type the Azure user add, and then I will get this public IP address. So within this virtual machine, we have to give this specific directory. Okay, so we successfully copied there. So let me try to access with SSH again. So I will check it out with this directory. So let me check with ls-la within the home directory. So okay, great. So you will see that here send loss.py. So let me go this home directory, sorry, cd home Azure. So let me read with the cat. So here, we have to configure for the here EventHub variables. So here we need to replace the correct EventHub connection string, and then here we need to replace for the Blob story connection string. So how do we get those two values? So we have these two requirements, so we need to find those values again. So let me check back here. So let me find a new tab, how to get EventHub connection string. Send OS time. So we had to run this comment, and then here the namespace name is, what is the namespace name? Namespace name is right here, data center HUB, and then resource group name we can get from here. So I will replace the resource group name. Okay, let me get in the new tab. I will open a new tab. So oh, it's not ready to run the command. Okay, great. Oh, so something is wrong. Primary connection string, parameter, appearance resource not found, parent resource not found. So let me ask right here. How to get the EventHub connection string. So I'm gonna run this command. Okay, so here is the resource group name. So I need to replace again right here. So I will replace the correct one. Now I will run this. So is that command not found? Something is wrong. Authorize rule. This is just create the authorize rule, not to get the. Oh, sorry. So authorize rule is. Let me run that again. Oh, sorry. Okay, great. So is a command not found? So how to write okay, and fine, how to get EventHub authorize key name, sorry, in Azure from terminal. Okay, so I will remove this again. So the correct one is this. And then namespace name is data center hub, or namespace. Namespace name is data center namespace, right? Name space is SPAC. Alright, so let me check it out. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't run on this virtual machine. I have to run right here. Damn, this is crazy. So we have the here root manager access key. It was really ridiculous. So now we're gonna run this command to get the primary connection string. So here also I need to replace with the correct resource group name. So resource group name is right here, and then I will remove this. So okay, I will remove above comment. Okay, so here is, I will remove this. Correct name is right here. So so here we don't need to create the new authorization rule, right? So we can run this. Okay, so we have to use this string here. So now we will edit with this send loss.py file. So I will try to edit with the event editor. Send. Okay. So let me edit here. So I will remove this EventHub connection string. So I have to get the actual value. Okay, I will paste it. So and then how about to get the Blob story connection string? So okay, let me find a new tab. How to get connection string in Azure from terminal. So I'm gonna have to run this command. My internet connection is not too good today. So here I need to replace with a with the correct resource group name, account name. So story account name. Okay, here is a resource group name. I will replace with this resource group name. And then story account name is right here. We can copy from here. Story account name is this one. So okay, great. Replace, and then I'm gonna run this command to get this Blob story connection string. Okay, so I will use this connection string value from here to here, and I will copy it and I will edit right here. So I will remove this. Okay, great. So now escape from here and save it. Okay, so now we have to run this Python file using a Python 3. So before we run, let me check the Python version on this virtual machine. We are Essence version. So is a Python 3 and dash. Okay, so we had the Python, so let me run the Python 3 and send logs.py. So here we have some errors, from the Azure story block, because probably we don't even have that module Azure on this virtual machine, so that's why I think we have to install this command. Where is that? So we have to install this pimp install Azure story blob. I think so. So let me install that one on the Azure virtual machine. So here errors again. So pimp not found. So sudo apt install the blob story, Azure blob story. Alright, so let me get that one. And -y. So something is wrong where I was wrong. So let me copy this error. So let me also right here. Was wrong right here. So sudo apt pimp3. Alright, okay. So let me install with the pimp3. So great. So let me run it again. Oh, pimp3 not found again. Oh god, that's crazy. Okay, let me run this command step by step. So this is sudo apt update, and then we will check for the Python 3 and pimp3. Oh, alright, so we have to run this pimp3. That's so funny. Oh god. Okay, finish. Now let me install this. Okay. And after that, I have to run this command to install Azure Story Library using pimp3. Using actually, yeah, pimp3. Okay, great. So now let me run this again. Okay, finish. So now we can run the Python file. So I will go back again. So I will run this send underscore loss.py right here. Okay, great. Here we also have one more errors. Send loss.line 3 is like something is wrong. More recent colors line 3 in module even have line 3 was wrong. Module found error. So okay, I will copy this error again. So okay, what do I have to run again? Actually, this Python file is already correct, you know, send logs.py. Okay, we have to run this, even have. Oh god, it's a connection error again. So let me get the public IP address again. Okay, SSH as your user at, and then I will paste this public IP address. Now I'm gonna have to run this as your EventHub. Okay, great. Alright, so now let me run Python 3. P1th run Python 3, and then send logs.py. Okay, so finally we see the log sent to EventHub backup to block storage. Alright, so modify the script on the virtual machine. Yeah, we successfully modified that one. And logs to the container in the Azure block storage account. Okay, so now we're gonna verify that logs are successfully sent to the EventHub by checking the EventHub metric in the Azure portal. Okay, verifying that the logs are back out to the data center backup container. Okay, so I will send it again. One more time, I will send it again. So one more time, I will send it again. So let me copy these two things. I will get the related comments right here. So I get bored, so let me ask the AI. So we're gonna check the block storage. So I will run this. So now within this block storage, you will see the file. Oh, not here. So we had to run that one, this here. So you have to check this blob container. Here you will see the logs.txt file. So that's the thing we want to see that. So and one more line is how about for monitor metric or EventHub. Okay. So I will run this command. So here we need to know the subscription ID. So okay, how to get subscription ID in Azure from terminal. Let me find like this. So I will run this to get the subscription ID. Okay, I will use this one, and then I will replace right here. Always not here. So okay, I'm gonna run this second command to check for the EventHub matrix, right? So here is I need to remove this, and then I'm gonna replace right here the subscription ID. And then I need to remove the resource group name, this argument, and I need to give the correct resource group name. Great. So I will run this. Okay, let me run this right here. Okay, so you will see here the total amount is 3.0, 1.0. Alright, so that means successful stage, right? Status, okay. So now we can check it out and click confirm. That's it. So if you really understand this architecture diagram, you can easily do this left. But here we didn't do anything about the NSG, network security group. The key point is we create the virtual machine, and then we create the EventHub namespace, and then at the same time we create the EventHub that is to run that send underscore loss.py. So that logs is leading to this EventHub. We send the loss.t here. We send this file. Oh, sorry. So we send the loss.txt file to the EventHub. So and then we're gonna check the EventHub matrix. So for the loss, for the backup loss, we create a block story container. So in the block story container, either we see the loss.txt file. Alright, so that's it. So let me check it out. We finished. So if I can do it, you can also do it too. Thanks for watching. See you in the next coming video.